So the next type of reflexes that we're going to talk about are the postural reflexes. These resemble later postural corrective movements that we see when we fall. And these provide for an individual's maintenance of an upright posture in relation to his or her environment. This table, like the previous ones, goes over the reflexes and the age ranges in which they are present. You should know these. Let's watch a quick video where this doctor is going to demonstrate the postural reflexes.
A reaction which develops during infancy is the parachute reaction. If a baby being held in a prone position is made to approach the blanket quickly, it extends its arms downwards in a protective way.
The parachute reaction develops from the 6th month. At the same time, the balance test performed in a sitting position of the infant starts showing a forward support reaction.
This infant already supports itself with its arms when pushed in the forward direction, but not yet when pushed sideways.
The sideward support reaction develops when the baby is 7 months old. This 10-month-old infant supports itself well sidewards. Only at 11 months are infants able to support themselves when falling backwards.
As mentioned before, this baby is only 10 months old. He cannot yet manage to support himself when being pushed backwards.
So mean, right? But it's okay. The baby wasn't actually hurt in any of this. So the final type of reflex that we're going to go over are the locomotor reflexes, which are named because of their similarity to voluntary responses. They appear much earlier than the corresponding voluntary movements, and they disappear months before the infant is able to develop the voluntary skill. The three locomotor reflexes that we're going to look at are the stepping, swimming, and crawling reflex. This table, like the previous ones, goes over the reflexes and the age ranges in which they are present. You should know these. So the stepping reflex is the main reflex that we're going to go over in this lecture, but if you want to read about the other two, there should be information in your textbook. The stepping reflex is the main locomotor reflex that we'll go over and is elicited by holding the infant upright and moving them across the surface. The response is a rhythmic walking behavior. The reflex is present at birth and drops out around 4 months. So based on the maturation theory, the voluntary movements will not develop until reflexes have been inhibited by the CNS. However, a study conducted by Zalazzo was able to transform the involuntary walking reflex into voluntary walking for the babies. The disappearance of the stepping reflex was due to disuse rather than the inhibition of the nervous system. In his study, he had 1-week-old infants and divided them into 4 groups. One was an active exercise group that received walking practice where they did 2 minutes and then did a placing exercise where they marched in place for 30 seconds. The second group was the passive exercise group that was stimulated while lying on their backs for the same amount of time. The third group had no exercise and was tested at the same interval as the other groups. The final group was only tested at the beginning and the end of the 8 weeks to see if simply bringing the infants into the lab served as a confounding factor. They found that the active walkers in group 1, walked earlier than the other 3 groups, indicating that the walking reflex disappeared due to disuse. To follow up on this study, Esther Thalen created an experiment to confirm the lack of leg strength that was changed through practice in Zalazzo's experiment contributed to the disappearance of the stepping reflex. She had trials where she added weight, placed the infants in a water tank, and placed them in a treadmill. Let's watch this video that goes over this experiment. This is a really awesome video that was in Discovery Channel, and it's kind of a big deal.
2-day-old Darren can accomplish an amazing thing. With some support, he's able to make all the motions necessary for walking. It's called the stepping pattern, and it is unique to the baby human. Heel, toe. Heel, toe. Alternating legs. However, for Ariana, who is 6 weeks, the stepping pattern seems to have disappeared. The mystery of what happens to the stepping pattern and why it magically seems to return months later has been debated for years. Many scientists assumed that it was reactivated by some event in the brain when the time came for walking. But recently, new clues to this mystery have been discovered. When Ariana is placed in the water, her stepping pattern miraculously reappears. Right, left, right, left. The legs seem to be lifted by the water. Dr. Esther Thalen wondered if gravity was responsible for the stepping pattern's seeming disappearance.
So that just wraps up our lecture today regarding early infant movement. And we covered today the APGAR score, early motor development, the motor milestones, spontaneous movement, and reflexes and postural reactions. Some of this stuff is kind of hard, a little difficult to understand. If you have any questions regarding any of it, please feel free to shoot me an email or post in the discussion board, because this is actually the work that I'm doing is in spontaneous movement. So I'm more than happy to spend some time and talk to you guys about that. All right, have a good rest of your day. Bye.